guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Petersburg, and guess what? I have one of the original SUVs before an SUV was even a thing. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This particular one is an L, but it's also the Summit trim. But before we get into this luxury injected OG of off-road SUVs, let's talk about what's going on here. So I remember being a kid, I think it was right around 1985, I went and saw the movie The Goonies at the movie theater. Not on DVD, I didn't stream it, I didn't download it, went to the opening day at the movie theater. I remember Chunk saying that he saw a Jeep ORV with bullet holes. Do you remember that scene? I remember that scene. What that was basically the great-granddaddy of this vehicle here. An ORV, just to put in perspective, since there was no such thing as an SUV, ORV was an off-road vehicle. Kind of crazy, huh? Now we see a transition. Now, this Jeep Grand Cherokee, when they came out with the redesign just a couple years ago, really got back to the basics, but also brought a lot of new tech and finishes. Now, in this mid-size SUV segment, you could go a lot of different ways. 2-row, 3-row, high-end luxury, low-end materials, but you still can get the off-road capability no matter which way you go. What I want to find out is, though, if you're not going to go off-roading, if you're going to use this as a mall crawler, do you go with the Jeep Grand Cherokee L Summit Edition, or do you go with the Lexus TX? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Summit Edition Grand Cherokee and find out. Right off the bat, I really like the proportions, especially when you look at the redesign. Now, at the front of the business, of course, you're gonna have full LED lighting, headlights, daytime running lamps, turn signals. Working your way down, more LED exterior lighting. The big zonk is this guy right here. Why do we have a ginormous piece of gloss black, and why is it meant to look like a vent? I don't understand that. I wish that they would have made that functional or reshaped it or something. But I do like the way you're getting the yin and yang with this particular one, with the pearlescent white and the black gives it a nice balance like an Oreo cookie. Now, as we come across the front grille, there it is, the 7-slot traditional grille. You do have your forward-facing camera with a washer, a little bit of flat gray finish, a little bit of gloss black, and then as we work our way down, functionality in the center and functionality on the lower portion. And I like the way that they sculpted this lower lip area to give you a little bit more approach angle. Now, this Summit trim is not necessarily the off-road trim. There is an off-road trim, but all Jeep Grand Cherokees, you're able to do that off-roading with their 4x4 system. Now, you do have the quadra-lift suspension, that's that air suspension, and of course we have the all-wheel drive, or 4x4 as they say. Now, as we rise up, love the way they did the hood. Definitely has the Jeep character. You got the gloss black, nice indentations on both sides. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup on this Summit. Love these gunmetal metallic wheels. 21-inch wheel. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a bear to clean it, but boy, when it's clean, it pops nicely with the white. And I'm so glad that they didn't do gloss black. I feel like gloss black wheels are overplayed. Nice to have a different color. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tires? 275 on the width, 45 series sidewall. And another thing I love is that they painted those fender openings, and you'll notice the traditional opening of a Jeep. No other vehicle has this fender opening like this. It is a Jeep styling cue from over the years. Now, as we come down the side, you do get gloss black on the mirror caps, LED turn signals, 360-degree cameras, and we have the two-tone. So like I said, that yin and the yang two-tone style. I like the way that it goes all the way towards the rear pillar, and they didn't black out anything on the rear pillar. It's only blacked out on the A pillar. You do have stationary running boards or fixed running boards on this particular one, And right above that, I love the Grand Cherokee name, good placement. You got the American flag, and then you also have the two-tone on the door handles. So nice to have that. Roof rails close to the roof to help cut down on wind noise. Of course, you can get the crossbars. Another thing you'll notice is that you get that large greenhouse with a Jeep compared to the Lexus. Now, working our way towards the rear as we swing it around, this is what I was telling you about. I like the way the rear pillar here, nice body color. And then you'll notice how the trim, the gloss black trim, actually wraps all the way around to the other side. When we get to the back end, you do have a stubby roof spoiler, and it is all black. I wish that they could find a way to tuck this in, because that would just clean. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if the wiper wasn't exposed. It would be super clean. You would just have this nice balanced rear end, but the way they did full LED lighting, tasteful on that Summit Grand Reserve trim. And then, of course, as we drop it down, you're going to have your 4x4 with a 2-speed transfer case. And I like the way they sculpted the lower bumper with the exhaust, the functional exhaust in the bumper with the stainless steel trim ring. The big zonk I have is, why do we need this fake vent area on the rear bumper? Just leave it gloss black or paint it white. And then, of course, underneath here, we have our tow receiver hookup so you can do your towing. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this Grand Cherokee. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on this Summit Reserve, that Grand Cherokee L with the extra length. You do have hood struts to keep the hood open. Underneath the hood, we have the standard engine, but I don't know if that's such a bad thing. It's a 3.6 liter V6, 293 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a Torque Flight 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in about 7.9 seconds. Top speed is governed to 117 miles an hour. The vehicle weighs 5,112 pounds, but can tow 6,200 pounds. MPGs, 18 in the city, 25 on the highway. Now, the good thing is that if you want a V8, you can still get a V8 in the Grand Cherokee. Those days are numbered. And if you go Lexus TX, if you go TX 350, you're stuck with a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4. Does produce 275 horsepower. So not as much horsepower, not as much torque, smaller displacement than this engine. But why don't we go ahead? We got a naturally aspirated V6. Let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we are here inside this 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit trim, but this is an L. L doesn't stand for loser. L stands for long, because we have 3 rows stuffed into this midsize SUV. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, what's the asking price? Asking price for this one is $59,000 and change. Original MSRP, you're looking close to $70,000. But let's see how it compares to the mighty Lexus. To the door panels, I love the materials. You have real open pore wood. Make sure when you're rubbing your wood, you don't get splinters. We have massage seats, and we have 2 stages of memory seats. Look at that tan interior. That's called Tupelo, named after Tupelo honey. Nice diamond stitching on the armrest. There is gloss black around the switchgear, which I am going to have to zonk. And this one has your standard Alpine sound system, not the optional Macintosh. Door pocket is a decent size, 2 Costco hot dogs and a Costco Pepsi to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, look at the way they did the stitching. The contrast stitching, just very classy. The real open pore wood finish. And then you slide on in, you got a 10.25 infotainment system screen with the Uconnect 5 operating software. Now, it is full touchscreen, but I'll show you in a few seconds that you do have some buttons and knobs you could touch if that's what you prefer. So you could go into your vehicle settings, we could go to our cameras, Pretty good on the resolution. You got your trajectory, which is awesome. We could go out the back. Takes up all 10.25 inches. You could change ambient lighting. You got more colors than the freaking Rainbow has, or a box of tricks. Remember, tricks are for kids, silly rabbit. And then we're right back where we started. So nice to have it. And then of course you got apps, which is another nice thing, including off-road pages. So eventually that comes up. There's our off-road page. You can do pitch and roll, your accessory gauges. Nice to have all that good stuff. Up top, you can shut off your pesky auto start feature. Working our way down, here's the knob. So you have volume, tuning, 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats, heated steering wheel, dual climate control, and then you got a sea of gloss black. I think most people are probably going to drive around with it like this. The reason why is that you have wireless charging, a place for an emergency Twinkie, 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-A's here, a 12 volt. Kids, don't stick your Twinkie in there, it's going to hurt. And then you'll notice the gloss black here. Now you do have the toggle switches for the quadra lift system, and you do have your different drive modes from rock to sand to mud for the 4x4 system. This is your rotary dial for the Torque Flight 8-speed automatic. More gloss black, but like I said, I think you're going to have that open because there's 2 illuminated cup holders. We have our Jeep key fob. Simple. That's all you need. Remote start. And then you got more of that Tupelo honey. Lift it up. This is where you're going to probably keep your Seiko. Maybe if you got a Rolex, you can keep it in there so it doesn't get scratched. And then all this felt lining, this is where you could put some of those silver spoons that you were born with in your mouth. So they won't get scratched by putting those silver spoons. And then you could always sell your silver spoons, either for somebody who collects silver spoons, or you could sell it to somebody who's going to melt it down for the price of the silver, for the value of the silver. Seats, look at the leather, soft as can be. The piping, Summit embossed. Love the stitching. Full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver. And then we do have that panoramic sunroof. Nice one-touch operation. I'm not opening it because it's literally hot as the sun today. But why don't you come over here? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Jeep Grand Cherokee. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings for the driver. Down below, you got this beautiful aluminum sill plate with the Summit name, LED illuminated. Easy to get to seat controls. I like the way they put the nice finishes around them. And then I'm 6 feet tall. You got plenty of room here. Now, what's great is that with the steering wheel, you do have that wonderful leather, the contrast stitching, the wood finish, even the stitching on the horn button with the Jeep logo. Gloss black on the switch gears, a little bit of a bummer because you're going to get your thumbprints all over the place. But then you do have small paddles to go up and down the 8-speed automatic transmission. And we do have a power tilting and telescoping steering wheel. Now with that digital gauge cluster, you can scroll through a cornucopia of information. I love the way they keep it real simple for you to choose exactly what you want at any given moment. So that's nice to have all of that information. And then within each page, you got numerous other pages. I mean, look at this. It's a all-you-can-eat buffet of your Jeep Grand Cherokee information. Like if I come here, then I could go through all of that. I mean, look at that. Really, really nicely done. Easy to figure out. What's weird is for a Summit trim, they don't have a head-up display, which is making me scratch my head a little bit. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the mid-row, because remember, we got 3 of them inside this Jeep Grand Cherokee L. All right, guys, mid-row time. Aye, aye, Captain. We're in captain's chairs. What's great is about the mid-row, you get the same awesome leather, same great stitching. What I like is that they don't have one of those stupid ratcheting armrests. You actually have an armrest on the center console, just like the people up front. I also love the way they put the AC vents in the frame. You have the Tupelo honey-colored seat belts. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. Nice soft material. Got to get rid of these cargo nets. I mean, you put something in here, it's just gonna, like if you took a jelly-filled donut and put in here, it's gonna squeeze jelly all over your beautiful interior. Love the command center. You got dual climate for your mid-row passengers. Only heated seats. They show you where the ventilated seats are for the next trim, but you don't get them at this price point. Love that you have extra AC vents, and then you have more connectivity than what they had at freaking Circuit City back in the day. Home power source, 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-As. I mean, what else do you need? Sitting here, seats are comfy. Ooh, they recline nice. Do they slide? Yes, they do. So I like that, and I love the way you have the 2 cup holders. You got a place for, I would say, 5 Nutter Butters, Little Debbie's Nutter Butters. That Tupelo honey feels good. And then you have a nice little cubby here that comes out. So you could put your collection of Garbage Pail Kids up here. And then you could put, I would say, 2 Game Boys and a ton of games in there. Now you're living the 80s life like I was when I was a kid and watching Goonies and just eating a bunch of crap. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into that 3rd row and see if a human could actually fit in there in this Grand Cherokee L. All right, guys, 3rd row time. It's one of those things, I don't believe that a Grand Cherokee ever was intended to have a 3rd row. It's tight back here. Not only is the center console impeding in my leg room, I mean, it's nice because the armrests are kind of soft. You do have USB-Cs, USB-As, and you can sort of get a nice amount of headroom here because I'm not touching the headliner. I got AC vents, which is a plus, but there's just something about my knees being super high that does not feel comfortable. And I know in the Lexus TX, it's much more comfortable 3rd row. But if you're not going to put anybody back here, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. You do have this ability for people to get into that little storage area to get to the Game Boys. So that's kind of cool. I do like that. That's smart engineering. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the cargo area because I want to take you for a spin in this Jeep Grand Cherokee. All right, guys, tail end of the business. Let me take you back to Goonies again. If you remember that scene when they went to that restaurant that was in the middle of nowhere and looked like it hadn't been open in years, that's where they found underneath the cover the Jeep ORV with the bullet holes in the rear of the vehicle. So we don't have bullet holes. We got the Summit Grand Reserve badge here, but what else do we have? We have a power lifting. They didn't have this back in 1985. Hit the button, nice electric assist, rises on up, and then what you're gonna find is you're greeted to 17 cubic feet of space with that 3rd row up. So we do have our subwoofer from our sound system, which is nice. And then you'll notice on the passenger side, we have a little bit of a nook for a box of Twinkies. You do have, of course, a 12 volt. And then to fold the seats down, it's real easy. You're just gonna hit the button. Look at that, one touch operation. The 3rd row coming down. Steven's gonna show off what the heck I was experiencing. Nice soft material on the armrest, USB-As, USB-Cs, and AC vents. And then let's see if we could find out what the heck's underneath here. You got a nice little area where you could put some cans of Coca-Cola, nicely set up. But why don't we go ahead? I always do this. On Jeeps, it's never up here. Look like an expert. It's always here. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go do the truffle shuffle and go on throttle in this Jeep. All right, guys, we have left Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete. We're inside this 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Summit trim. And right away, you're gonna immediately notice the upscale materials in here. I mean, everything from the leather to the stitching, getting to the Uconnect 5 infotainment system is well within reach. And I love the way it's got a plethora of different information that you can bring up very, very easily. The graphics are nice. All that is very well done to make it feel super modern in here. They did a great job on the sound deadening material, the thickness of the side glass, the acoustic windshield to try to keep out as much as that they can of the outside noise. And the seats are actually super comfy and supportive all at the same time, which is wonderful. But driving this really makes you see the efforts that Jeep has made in trying to move the Grand Cherokee more upscale. The driving characteristics are what you would find in a vehicle of this type. So steering is pretty good. Obviously with the different modes, you're gonna have different sensitivity to the steering, the throttle, and how the transmission and the engine behave. But what's great about the V6, the Pentastar V6, is that you have a very linear torque delivery compared to the 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4 in the Lexus TX. But it's one of those vehicles where you're gonna feel very comfortable, I think, being behind the wheel. It's not overly big, which is good. And you are getting V6 sound inside the cabin, which makes sense. They're not putting a bunch of other fake noise and all this other junk. But having all the different safety features, having the extra row in case you need it. But let's see how the on throttle goes. On throttle, here we go. Nice, like I said, linear torque delivery, fast, smooth shifts from the TorqueFlite 8-speed automatic. And the air suspension does a good job of keeping you comfy, but also planted at all four corners. And then of course, even though most people wouldn't do it with this particular Jeep Grand Cherokee, with the 4x4 system, you can go off-roading with this vehicle. Just know that this is not a trail hawk. So I would recommend, if you really want to go off-roading, don't get a Summit trim, get the Trail Hawk trim, because that comes with off-road wheels and tires, skid plates, recovery tow hooks, all those goodies. But this is still a very capable, very balanced vehicle. And it's nice that they still have naturally aspirated engines, whether you want to go V8 or you want to go 6-cylinder. But being able to change all the information all within fingertip on the dash is really nice. And also having as much technology when it comes to USBs and the wireless charging and all those goodies. So, but like you can see here on the dash, you could change through a cornucopia of information, which is great. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review of what the Jeep Grand Cherokee is bringing for 2024. We're gonna go ahead and get back to Crown, which is Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete, and wrap this one up. All right, guys, we climbed the summit here at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete. I definitely want to thank Miro and the rest of the team getting us access to this 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Let me know what you think. Are you going Grand Cherokee? Are you going Lexus TX? Let me know how you're going to spend your money in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Reds family. Got to give it up to Stephen Flood. He's sweating out here in the sun just like I am, but he's also holding that 15-pound camera rig. So show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.